Good day, everyone. Meteorologist Mark Molnar here. Hope everybody is doing well. Thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather Tropical Edition. We're dealing with Tropical Storm Bret here, approaching the Lesser Antilles in just about 2 days. And yes, this will become a thing to contend with here into the Caribbean. Does it have a chance to hold on? Will it make it to the Gulf of Mexico? We have Invest 93L behind it that has up to an 80% chance through the next week of development. Models are starting to really grab a hold of this system as well. You can see blowing up northeast of the Caribbean islands. And then the next system behind it that's now off the coast of Africa has a chance of developing out here in the main development region of the Atlantic. And if all that weren't enough, we're going to go over the possibilities of a tremendous tropical moisture coming up the U.S. East Coast from midweek all the way through late week, the weekend, and all the way through next week. We could be dealing with tremendous tropical moisture. Let's get into it. So taking a look at Tropical Storm Bret here on infrared satellite photo, you can see the thunderstorms exploding around the center of circulation. It is on its way to the central Lesser Antilles. Places like St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Martinique, and Barbados will be greatly affected by this maximum tropical storm by the time it reaches there. As far north as Dominica and as far south as Grenada could be affected as well. As we continue behind the system, we're actually going to have Invest 93L here. This system likely become our next tropical storm, and another big system coming off the coast of Africa. All right, so taking a look at the European run first here, this has been the most consistent with this storm. As we continue towards the west, towards the 22nd, you can see we're approaching the Lesser Antilles here. This thing's actually going to come up to about 65 mile per hour winds. I think it could actually maybe come up to 70, but probably not a hurricane at this point. It just doesn't have as much going for it. It's going to continue to bend westward here. This is 11 p.m. on the 22nd. So as we're getting towards Thursday evening, Thursday night, we could start to see things really go downhill right in the central Lesser Antilles here, right through 5 a.m. And then there's 11 a.m. So yeah, this thing's through for the most part by 11 a.m. on Friday, which is great news. You know, it is a fast mover, and it does start to weaken by this point. We're down to 60 mile per hour winds. And look at this by the 8 p.m. on the 23rd. This thing's really starting to wash out as we head westward. The European model almost looks like it's weakening it to a remnant low here. You can see the moisture here on the model. And from there, the European model kind of loses it for the most part. You know, it keeps some showery, heavy rains through Jamaica here, and then the Cayman Islands eventually. This is the 26th, and then we get into the 27th. We still got some heavy rains around here, but it doesn't look organized. And by the 28th, you don't really see too much of anything here, although look at all this moisture up the U.S. East Coast. So here's the GFS Tropical Storm Bret continuing towards the westward here. And look at this. Yeah, here it is on the 22nd, so right about the same time as the Euro. It's just slightly slower than the European model here. But you can see it's actually coming just a little bit to the north here of Fort de France here, continuing towards the west here. Same time frame, though. The time frame is going to be Thursday night into early Friday morning is going to be the worst of it. And this is where it's going to be a maximum tropical storm with 65 mile per hour winds, gusts to 75. So some of those gusts could be hurricane force winds. So if you're in the Lesser Antilles, especially the central and northern Lesser Antilles, please stay tuned for this system. Lots of effects with this as we continue westward here. But what happens? Let's just back this up a little bit. What happens with the system here on the GFS? It washes out exactly the same as it does on the European model. So we have unanimous agreement here, and it kind of loses it at this point. Does it become that stealth low-pressure system that gets reawakened to the westward here? Well, let's take a look here. Let's see what direction this system's heading. So here it is. You can see it being picked up here by the GFS at this point, just like it was on the European model. Now watch that area as we head in time here. We're going to see exactly what could be happening with this. So there it is. It's heading just south of the Cayman Islands by this point on the 25th. It looks like it's making a run here for Central America, and that could actually energize this area of development here into the Eastern Pacific. Look how quickly this blows up. All right, so let's take a look at our hurricane models. They're very much like mesoscale models for hurricanes. Look at this. We head towards the 21st, Wednesday at 8 p.m. This is just off to the east of the central Lesser Antilles. Look at this, just east of Fort de France here. Look at this system coming in right around 2 a.m. here on the hurricane model, 5 a.m. So here is the center. I'm going to zoom right into the central Lesser Antilles here. So yeah, this thing's going to head right overhead, according to this model, just a little bit to the north of the forecast track here on our hurricane model. So taking a look at Invest 93L here, yes, it's at 80% chance through day 7 here. We have some time to watch this system, but it looks like on the European model, here it is. It's actually just on the heels here of Tropical Storm Bret. So this is by the 22nd, Thursday. You can see the storm. It's holding on here. I'll show you momentarily on the GFS, but here it is. It's heading actually over the same path on the European model now, which is kind of actually pretty interesting. And that continues westward, and then it starts to find, you can see this weakness here in the isobars. It does start to strengthen a little bit, and it starts to head more towards the northwest. It's also going to be getting the flow here from Bret, so it's going to have a tendency to move a little bit more west-northwest here. And here's the Lesser Antilles, the northern Lesser Antilles, Virgin Islands. You can see it heading just to the northeast here, and eventually towards the Bermuda area, where there is where it's finding, you know, the weakness in the ridge. It does look like a pretty weak storm, though, here on the European model. So it's possible this storm could bend a little bit further to the west as we head in time. But look at this. It kind of, you know, until the 30th or the 31st, you know, it kind of washes it out here and kind of loses it a bit. And if we take a look at our next potential storm behind Invest 93L, this is crazy. We're just lining them up here. You can see this off the coast of Africa. This coming off pretty potent here. Look at this as we head in time. This does have the potential to develop here as well, so we'll watch it here as this heads. This actually looks like it's going to be heading a little bit south, but, you know, it might be so far south that it has a hard time developing, at least here on the European model. So as we head to the upper to mid layers of the atmosphere, I should say the mid layers, thanks to TropicalTidbits.com, as always, take a look at this. So as we have Tropical Storm Bret coming into the Lesser Antilles, one of the saving graces here is going to be the dry air at mid layers. Look at this. This brownish area, and the darker the browns, the more dry. It is going to be on the verge, you know, of the western side of Bret here. So this is what's going to preclude, you know, any chance, you know, and hinder any chance of development here as it continues to move westward. You can see how the eastern side is going to be the strong side, as usually is the case with tropical systems. But look at this dry air just reinforcing, you know, to the north here. You can see there's Bret, and it's almost like the dry air is helping force Bret southwestward here. Look at that. So yeah, this system continuing to head into very dry air. You do start to see the center becoming exposed by Saturday, June 24th here. Look at that. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, the system really does have a hard time holding on. You can see on the surface model of the Euro here. And it does start to try to regenerate towards Sunday the 25th. Does this head into Central America, or does the moisture head northeastward here? Well, here is where the center is possibly the low-level circulation. So you have heavy rain here in the Central America, and then up towards the Cayman Islands and parts of Jamaica and Cuba. So we'll have to see what happens with this system. It could actually regenerate, but for the Gulf of Mexico, will this system have any chance of getting up here? Look at all this dry air. Even if this does make a run up into the Gulf, it would have a very difficult time getting through this dry air and wind shear up here. And I wanted to make note here, this is where Invest 93 could be becoming a factor as well. You see the dry air on the southwest side of the system. Yeah, this system is going to also be fighting dry air, you see, by the 25th here and into the 26th. It's going to be holding on for dear life because it's going to literally be surrounded by dry air here as well. And then by the 29th, there's going to be a lot of wind shear here out of the southwest. So we're going to really start to see, you know, this system potentially become sheared apart. Now, I wanted to show you along the U.S. East Coast here on the European model first. You can see there's going to be a tremendous plume of moisture. You know about it in the Carolinas. You know, we've been dealing with it for quite a while here. But look at this. As we head into the weekend and then into early next week, we could be dealing with a lot of rain, you know, camping out as each system and piece of energy dives here into the southeast. You can see lots of tropical moisture through the 27th and the 28th here. That's going to be the theme. We're going to continue to open up the tropics here, especially the Western Caribbean to the U.S. East Coast. All right, so as we take a look at early into Wednesday morning around 2 a.m., take a look at this. So we got showers and thunderstorms continuing across the Carolinas and the Gulf Coast. Look at this big slug of moisture moving up the U.S. East Coast here. This is kind of crazy. But look at this. You know, you can see the cyclonic nature. You can see where the low pressure is right into this area of the southeast. And we're continuing to have this moisture just pinwheel slowly up the U.S. East Coast. And watch this. You know, we're going to have some big thunderstorm complexes out here into central Kansas. Going to have to keep an eye on that. We could have a mesoscale convective system. But look at this as we get cranking 5 p.m. This is Wednesday. Look at the moisture coming up here into the northeast, and look at, most importantly here, showers and thunderstorms really breaking out across the southeast. Some of these could contain, heavy downpours, potential for urban and small stream flooding, maybe some scattered strong to severe thunderstorms as well, and making it all the way up to Philadelphia here with the rain shield. And watch this as we continue in time. It's really interesting to see here on our future radar. As we go through 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight on Wednesday night into 1 a.m. Thursday morning. Look at this. It is just, we're socked in with tropical moisture here along the Gulf Coast. Some of these storms could be very strong to severe here, just north and east of Houston. And look at here into the panhandle of Florida, all the way up into eastern Georgia and the Carolinas. I am sorry to say the Carolinas here, Georgia and Virginia, you've just been socked in lately with tremendous amounts of rainfall and keeping your temperatures down as well. But look at, as we get up here into the northeast, we're actually looking on into your Thursday here. As you're waking up, look at the rainfall is moving north here, but it is having a hard time. There is some dry air up here associated with a high pressure system, so it's going to initially have a hard time getting some of this tropical moisture up into the northeast. But look at that. There's our last frame. You know, you're starting to see some showers breaking out here. Still a little bit dry over towards Cleveland and Columbus here, but you can see the Hudson Valley. We're starting to moisten up here in the Catskills, Poconos as well, so you can probably see some stray showers into Thursday afternoon here. And look at this across the southeast. This looks like a big old mess. And look at over here into parts of the plains. Yeah, we could have another mesoscale convective system developing in Oklahoma. So the European upper level flow here of North America, there's that low hanging out across the southeast here. Oh, let's just back that. There we go. And there's that big blocking high over northeast North America. Now, what's going to happen with this? There's the big Bermuda high, keeping those tropical systems moving towards the Caribbean and around this subtropical ridge. Now, as we go towards the weekend here, that area of low pressure starts to move towards the northeast, towards the mid-Atlantic region here. You see this big old ridge developing here in the southern plains. And look at this. We are lacking a ridge out here towards Bermuda for the most part. So this is going to start a trough developing here along the east coast towards Wednesday the 28th. That's what's going to help promote that tropical moisture from the Caribbean and riding all the way up the U.S. East Coast. I have more weather for you in just 1 minute, but here's a quick announcement from my affiliate. Take a look at this. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease, or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. So synoptically, the big story is going to be the severe weather across the plains, the southeast, and this tropical moisture, as you can see over the next several days, that makes it up the East Coast. The first surge coming on, Thursday and Friday into the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, as you can see, and that as we head into the weekend, that continuing. And look at this as we head towards the 26th. This is right around 5 p.m. We could actually have some severe weather across parts of the Northeast. So definitely keeping an eye on Monday here because we have a pretty vigorous system heading into the region. So yeah, that's going to come right out of the Ohio Valley and then continue with these showers and thunderstorms continuing across the eastern lakes into the Northeast. So definitely going to keep an eye on this situation as well. So as we take a look at the European model here, take a look here in the Southeast, as I said, onto your future radar HRRR mesoscale model. This is the high pressure to the north that's keeping this system, locked up across the south. It's like a wintertime pattern. The system can't move much to the northeast until this high pressure system starts to retreat into Thursday morning. Look what starts to happen, though. The moisture starts to head up into the parts of the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. And as we head into Friday here, the Ohio Valley on westward into the Midwest, it stays dry. But look at here into the east. We're going to watch for the possibility of showers and thunderstorms breaking out into your Friday, and this could end up being a pretty rainy weekend up here into the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. So we have plenty of tropical moisture, severe weather out here into the central and northern plains as well. But look at this, onto Saturday, this heavy rain regenerates here across the Northeast and the mid-Atlantic, and we have that direct tropical connection right around this ring of fire ridge, essentially. So it's bringing up a lot of tropical moisture. Going to continue to have some problems out here into the plains as well with severe weather. So that's something we're going to keep a very close eye on. Look at on Sunday. Here we go again, broken record. If you have a long weekend, I'm sorry to say, you are going to be socked in with lots of showers and thunderstorms. Look at towards the Ohio Valley on Monday, though. Monday morning, we could have some strong thunderstorms approaching Toledo, Cleveland, parts of Cincinnati. So please keep an eye out on Monday. It could be, this is a pretty vigorous storm system, bringing a cold front and a trough here through the parts of the Ohio Valley. So we could be looking at an area of severe weather as we head on into Tuesday, late Monday, early Tuesday. Look at this. This trough starts to really set up across the eastern part of the country, and that's going to help funnel more tropical moisture here to the north. Look at this. Let me back up just one frame. Look at this for Tuesday afternoon. That, my friends, is a tremendous amount of rain. So we're going to be looking at several days of heavy rain. Look at that onto Wednesday as well. It's like a broken record every day. We do get a dry day Thursday and Friday next week before the next system ejects from the plains here. So taking a look at total liquid equivalent precipitation here on our European model. So yeah, let's go through the weekend here. Look at this. This is crazy. This is through Monday morning. So yeah, this doesn't even account, all next week. Yeah, the plains dealing with severe weather, so heavy rains. But look at up here, even upstate New York, eastern Pennsylvania, all the way to the Gulf Coast, Panhandle of Florida, southern New England. Anywhere in the red, you're 2+ inches here. And then you get up closer to the yellows here, you're into the 4. And if you're closer to some of these oranges, you're closer to the 5 to 6 inch range. Let's take a zoom in here. So getting into the southeast here, look at what's going on here. So we head through Sunday, Monday. So this is through the weekend, and then we go all the way through much of next week. Look at this. Yeah, a lot of Florida here, parts of northern Georgia, but pretty much a solid area of 2.5 to almost 4 inches of rain. And as we head up into the mid-Atlantic, let's take the rest of this weekend into next week. Look at so this stops on Sunday. Look at this. Yeah, so from the Susquehanna Valley southward here, you're looking at a solid 1.5 inches all the way up to 3 inches. Some isolated areas approaching 4+. Look at that, southern New England, southern Connecticut as well, close to 3 to 4 inches. That's crazy. Now let's take the rest of next week. We'll just pile on top that. Look at this. This is insane. Look at this, all the way up to Rochester, Binghamton, Syracuse, Scranton, Harrisburg. Look at the New York City area here, the Catskills, Poconos. This is up into the solid 4 to 5 inches range, and even to the southern New England here. And look at here into the eastern Carolinas, parts of the southern Appalachians. We're going to have to keep an eye on this. Look at this, even over towards the Ohio Valley. You get that vigorous system early next week. It could drop up to 1 inch to 1.5 inches Monday into Tuesday from Cleveland, Akron, and Youngstown. And here into the Northeast, let's take a look. We'll take it through the rest of the weekend to the weekend here. So Monday morning, look at this. So yeah, red areas closer to 2 inches. Yellow areas closer to 4. And as we take through the rest of next week, look at this. We just pile on top here. So from Interstate 81 on eastward here, you stand a chance of seeing 3 to 4.5 inches of rain. This is crazy. All right, so the smoke, it is, it's toning down a bit. This is great news as the winds switch a bit more south and southwesterly into Wednesday. We're still dealing with a big, large area of smoke across, the Midwest. The good thing is this is in a range that's more manageable as we head during the next 24 to 48 hours. And you can see a lot of smoke lifting, except there in Michigan. Look at this as we head towards Thursday afternoon. We have a big bump up of smoke here. And I wanted to show you here that area in Michigan where we get some really bad smoke here developing on an easterly wind. Look at this. This is right in the middle of the day, just after noon hour, especially in Michigan. So this is going to be approaching some dangerous levels of air quality in north and central Michigan here. Now, as we look into the eastern Pacific here, we do have about a 30% chance through day 7 here. It's rising by the day here. But look at this. We got a while to watch. This is the 24th, the 25th. It's going to be the system that's coming out of Central America here off the intertropical convergence zone. You can see it right in this region here. Watch how the European model here blows this right up. This is crazy. Look at this. Yeah, so it looks like it potentially could be a coastal hugger, if this thing really gets cranking. And look at this. Yeah, this is by the 28th. Definitely going to keep an eye on this. This could be affecting some resort town areas as well. And if I take a look here on the GFS here into the eastern Pacific, yeah, the GFS really blasting the storm upward as well. There's actually another area over here into Central America that we'll watch as well towards the 28th. But the big story is going to be this massive system that blows up here, forms a potential eye. Look at that. Could this be a big threat to the resort towns? It could be. And here we go into the Western Pacific. Is there anything to worry about here? Well, let's go out here on the European model. There's that area that I've been a little bit concerned about here. Take a look at this. Yeah, so we're just going to blow this up through the 23rd, the 24th. Here's that area of low pressure just east of the Philippine Islands. I think this bears watching because this has the potential to develop. We'll take a look at the GFS momentarily here, but look at this. Yeah, this could become a factor to the northern Philippines and eventually Taiwan here. So this is definitely something we want to keep an eye on. This could actually develop into a tropical system. Look at that by the 28th. It's bearing down on China and Taiwan both here before making potential landfall. So definitely something to keep an eye on here. The rainy season continuing up here in Japan. And the Western Pacific GFS, does this actually agree with the European model here? Well, it's actually a bit further east on the 26th here. There's that area of low pressure I was pointing out to you onto the European model. Of course, the GFS is always a bit further to the east or the north here, as is the case with this one. But does it actually swing it westward? It actually does. Look at this. By the 28th, into the 29th. The last frame here showing, yes, it is actually much further east, though, than it was on the European model. But it actually, in time here, has been swinging a little bit further to the west. So I would still keep an eye, especially with the Europeans' track record here, into the northern Philippines, Taiwan, and even the coast of China here. Stay tuned. So as we go nationally here to your high temperatures, we'll start off with your Wednesday. Oh, look at this. Yeah, massive heat building here, triple digits continuing across Texas. That's going to continue to flow north. Toasty in Florida as well, but look at here into the Appalachians and Mid-Atlantic, the Carolinas. You're stuck mostly into the 70s, even some 60s there in parts of the Appalachians and the Carolinas. Crazy to even think about this time of year, but look at this. You can see where the clouds and the rain are here. From the southeast to the mid-Atlantic. And look at this. Yeah, this heat continuing to build here across the central portion of the U.S., spreading eastward for your Friday, or at least trying to. But look at this area that's below, say 80 degrees. It's actually warmer in northern New England here. It's in the mid to upper 80s where the clouds and the rain won't be. But as we get into the weekend, it becomes apparent, this mega death ridge here into the central states, and then the troughs on both coastlines here, continuing with the clouds and the rain from the Carolinas to the northeast, and that tropical moisture continuing to head those temperatures down. Sunday, we get a little bit warmer into the northeast with 80s. Look at these mid to upper 90s southwest of Chicago, Illinois. Kind of crazy to even think about that. As the heat is building here and into Monday, look at this. Yeah. That heat's just camping out here across the southern plains. We're actually getting into the 80s again across much of the Northeast. Extended outlook from our hometown viewers from Binghamton to Scranton, New York and Pennsylvania, Susquehanna River Valley. Wednesday through Sunday here. Wednesday's your only nice day. Get out there and enjoy sunny 80 degrees. The humidity will be on the rise with the tropical air mass coming in. It will be a bit cooler. It's Thursday, 71, but look at this for Friday into Saturday. This is where the tropical moisture really gets cranking, an inch to an inch and a half of rain through this 24 to 36 hour period, and temperatures will be on the rise. Look at that tropical air coming in by 84 degrees on Sunday. Continued showers and thunderstorms as that moisture plumes right up the U.S. East Coast. As always, thanks for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Take a look at the links down below. I have my affiliate link for Trilogy maps, so if you want to get some of those, I do make a commission off those. I just wanted to disclose that, but go ahead and use the code MeteoMark to save 20%. Also, visit my Hurricane 2023 Outlook if you haven't already. Link at the end of this video and description down below. Don't forget Facebook MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Hurricane Northeastern for my tropical page, at MeteoMark.com, WeatherNortheastern.com, Twitter at Weather Eastern. Thank you for joining me.